we're gonna be kicking it off here, and today we're gonna be talking about SISU, which has I haven't told you guys, but has impacted my business significantly in 2020. I'm sure Mike Novak here, one of the Ylopo rockstar users, Ylopo professors, is on this call. The founder of SISU. Did you come up with the name SISU?
Hi, everyone. I did, yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, the
all
Finnish
right.
people came up with that name, and we copied them.
Okay. All right. We've got Frank, who's the Chief Revenue Officer. And then last, but absolutely without a doubt, not the least, we've got Dr. Howard Tager, who is the co-founder of Ylopo. And man, guys, when we were talking about this webinar, kind of where I would love to hear, Howard, where you and Brian, where you guys were coming from when you were wanting to have this, and maybe we can kick it off from there if that's okay.
Right. So, you know, you've heard the expression, I know enough to be dangerous. I don't know enough to be dangerous.
Yeah.
So I'm really I'm here to learn, right? So I'm here to learn. Like when we did our webinar with BombBomb, you know, I knew a lot more, obviously, you know, about BombBomb, and it was really pretty easy for us to go through kind of like how the two work together. I'm obviously really fascinated by how the two work together. You know that I've always lectured on becoming a maverick, MAV, measurement, accountability, visibility. So you can't improve, you cannot improve what you don't measure. And if you don't measure it, you can't, you know, make people accountable. And you have to have visibility, right? You've got to have visibility to measure, to hold people accountable. So that's all I know at a top level. And if there's another tool out there that the CRMs are not really providing, or CRM providers are not really providing at this level, which is going to bring the sales performance up of our teams, that I'm all in on that, right? So we look, way long ago, we were the founders of the all-in-one closed system. We do everything for you. Well, that's as you guys know, as I've lectured, that's very 2007. Ylopo, right? Turn the model around, is about one to all. And if we can find other complementary partners, we have no strategic, I have to say this, we have no strategic or financial arrangement with SISU at all. Probably because like I was on Facebook promoting it so much, people were like, whoa, what's going on here? There's nothing. If there's a tool like BombBomb, who we have no arrangement with, or a tool like SISU that we have no arrangement with, but it's going to improve your Ylopo performance, you know, we need to support that. We need to educate our community about that and support that. So now I'll probably, after this webinar, like keep arm wrestling like Frank and Brian and say, come on, we got more discount for our Ylopo clients, right? And we know that we want to like take the integration to the next level. We really want to get in there and integrate directly if we can with SISU, right? So anyway, having said that, I think you get kind of why I'm interested in being on this webinar and learning, and let's, you know, and we've got Mike on here, you know, besides yourself, who are experts at how to use Ylopo and SISU together. So that's it. I'm going to shut up as much as it's difficult for me to do that, and let you guys roll.
We know that's not true. We know that's not true. Brian, tell us tell us about, you know, kind of the impetus from your end on having this webinar. Where are you guys coming from? Frank, either of you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to share my perspective on that. So, you know, as we're out and about, we work with about 500-600 of the top teams. You guys work with more than that, and we run into people all the time that are talking about Ylopo. So we're like, you know, Ylopo, let's hear about this Ylopo. Then I heard about it from my wife, right? And so as we started seeing that, you guys are obviously focused on driving leads. We're focused on helping business owners understand their business and make better decisions. And as part of that, bringing in the Ylopo leads automatically and showing them which agents they're giving those to. And I think Mike has been doing this, maybe you as well, Barry, but we really want to make it so that automatically, without any manual entry, and today there is some manual entry going on, but we've opened up our API to extend to this so that you don't have to have any manual entry, and you'll be able to know exactly what your cost per lead is, what your cost per closing is. And for Ylopo, that's a great thing, because what I'm seeing is you guys are having better costs, you know, than other lead gen companies. So people can see that and they can make decisions to spend more on Ylopo, to go more Ylopo, because they're getting a better return on their investment. So in addition to that, at the agent level, we want to make sure you know which type of lead do you want to give to which agent, because some agents are going to convert Ylopo at a way higher rate than other agents, and that's really who you want to make sure you're giving those leads to. So that's really what SISU is about. And just a company like you guys that is focused on driving leads, we just want to make sure we enhance that so your people can make better decisions.
Yeah, I think the other thing too, prior to the demonstration, I hopped into Mike's account, and it's pretty cool. I mean, just like Howard was saying, you have, Ylopo has no financial investment or ties to, to SISU, nor do we. We're really agnostic as far as where our customers buy their leads, where they get their leads. But most importantly, we want to make sure that they're getting the best effectiveness of spend for that. But if you get anything out of today's demonstration or overview, we want to make sure that we show Mike's return on investment in category, and and sort it based on ROI, based on Ylopo compared to some of the other, wouldn't call them competitors, but where you get your lead spend. It's an amazing way to just visually see how efficient the ROI is for Ylopo leads, and how much return is really gained from the right Ylopo investment. It's pretty powerful to visually see that. So
yes,
it is. Now,
yes, we did a client success spotlight, which we do every month. And our client, Eric Camille, down in Florida, he's really in the weeds, right? And he's getting great results with Ylopo because he's really in the weeds. But he's literally diving into like thousands of texts, emails. He's getting into all the weeds, right? And I asked him, he really doesn't have a global tool to start. Like he could go right in as a global tool, so he could be more efficient as a leader to see where the team members that he needs to talk to or the performance needs to bring up. And people that are kind of putting together spreadsheets, maybe they're putting together spreadsheets, maybe not. So that's kind of what I'm interested in. I really want to, let's dive into the details. And I think what's cool today is this is really just for Ylopo users, and we've got Mike and Barry who can show us, do screen shares, man, and show us like how this tool boosts your ROI, because that's what it's all about.
That's great. Thanks for mentioning that, Howard. Just one other thing you just pointed out, which I want to make sure we hit on, is another thing you want to make sure are your conversion ratios for each lead source. So you can see that today through our system, but it's a little more difficult to get to at the lead source level. And so we are actually building something today because of this relationship that basically will show them their conversion rate all the way along on a Ylopo lead, from the time that lead comes in to setting an appointment all the way through. So they'll be able to see their conversion ratios on Ylopo leads specifically.
Does it have the ability at all to, because a lot of times we're encouraging people to get, and Mike and Barry know this, to get leads in from lots of sources, not just Ylopo.
Yes.
And right. So, but we're touching, that's the whole point of Ylopo, like we're touching all of it, right? We're listing alerts, dynamic remarketing, Raya, texting, all of that. Does it also somehow, sort of give us visibility into how we're sort of touching the other lead sources?
Today, no, but that's just a matter of us working together and figuring out how you want to do that. So today, what we're doing is we're pulling the lead source in from the CRM, and it's just telling us who the lead source is. And from that, we're taking it and giving them all that information on all of their lead sources. So if there's a Ylopo touch on another lead source, that's something we could do. We just need to work together to figure out how to visualize that.
As we think about, Mike and Barry and Frank, and as we think about that direct integration that we're going to develop, let's think about that, adding that element as well. Like source was this, was X, Y, or Z. Ylopo's touched it this many times, brought these conversations, that kind of stuff. So anyway.
That's something I've been thinking a lot about too. Like we are actually really close to having an SOP on our team where we will change the lead source to Ylopo after a certain period of time where that lead was dead. Because we've seen, we closed, I believe it was
standard operating procedure.
Yeah, we closed 46 Ylopo deals last year, but that was just Ylopo generated deals. And
Yeah.
Ylopo is not just a lead generation company, it's a lead conversion company.
What would be your estimate of the number of deals you closed, including the Ylopo generated leads, the number of deals you closed that Ylopo touched and helped bring to life and all that?
Probably like closing in on 90 last year. Like a lot of them were 2-year-old PPC leads that had unsubscribed, were totally dead to the world, would be gone. And then a priority alert got triggered, some automation occurred, maybe a phone call happened, and that person was repopulated in front of an agent that was able to convert it. So that's huge. And I think figuring out what that SOP looks like is really important for our team, because that's really the true ROI on Ylopo. If you're just looking at lead generated, cost per closing, it's good, but it's not showing the whole picture.
So one thing we used to do, I think we still do it, but we've kind of hidden it away because some people were confused by it, but is allow a secondary lead source. So Howard, that's a place that we could just, anyone that's touched by Ylopo, we could put you as the secondary on those if you're not the originator, and we would be able to show that.
Cool. Guys, let's dive right into SISU, because that's where our clients are. Let's start showing it and why it's important and what a great tool it is.
Yeah. So Mike, what I want to do, I want you to pretend that the people that are watching this right now don't know anything about SISU, and I just want you to show us why you're excited about it, and screen share and just talk through the different parts that you feel like maybe that are the most impactful, or the ones that, you know, why you're so excited about the platform. And then I have my list of things. We'll see if we have time, because I know that there's a lot that you're excited about. So I know I'm putting you on the spot, man, but I know you talk about this all day. So if you don't mind, go ahead and script. Yeah.
Let me jump right into it. So, you know, before we came to SISU, we were tracking everything through a different tool that was very manual. Like everything had to be added in 2, 3, 4 spots. And I like my financial statements and my analytics to be accurate to the day. Like if we have a closing that is extended and that's not represented in the analytics, to me, that's a huge deal, because that's how we do our forecasting. I'm always looking at our pending GCI, our pending units. I want to know what our cash flow looks like. I want to know what our year over year looks like. I'm always wanting to look at the analytics. So we were really looking for something that was going to be easier for our admin team and that would automate the data entry, because if you have to manually update everything, it becomes very, very hard to do. And that's probably the most common complaint I hear about data analytic tracking. And even people that don't understand SISU to a high level, they think you have to manually add everything into SISU. SISU is designed to automate a lot of that, and probably eventually all of that, once it gets to where we all are, you know, expecting it to go. So, but what we do with SISU, it's really our roadmap. Like we run on the traction system, which is level 10 meetings. And part of our level 10 meetings at each level, whether if it's the leadership team or if it's the sales team, or even if it's the admin team, is having 1 or 2 key numbers that we look at every single week and reporting those numbers on a scoreboard. And SISU for us is that scoreboard. So let's look at the agents first of all, and kind of show you what we look at. Like I'll just look at at me as an agent. I'm gonna get out of the actual display mode here. This is the actual, like kind of the hub is what I would call this. And this is where I spend a lot of my time looking at my data. I can change my dates up here, and I'm always looking at how many appointments am I setting, how many am I meeting, how many am I signing, and how many am I putting under contract. So you can see, like really at a glance, what your business looks like. And this is just my personal production, but you can see I've closed about $3.5 million. You can see I've got 9 units closed, and it's measuring, I've got my goals in here. It's telling me I'm on pace. You know, like I'm right about where I should be to hit my 2020 goals. We do goal setting at the beginning of the year for all of our agents. They put it into SISU, and then we can really track if they're on, if they're where they need to be, or if they need to make actionable changes to their calling, to the way they're talking to people, or anything like that. So you can really see, you know, what you've got for closed, what you've got forecasted to close, what you've got pending and closed, which is a big one that I really like to track, and your under contract volume as well. So you can see, like, I've got some work to do to get some more pendings going on this month, and you can also see the closed. Going down.
Mike, sorry to interrupt. Do you run any of these on big screen monitors or anything for your office? Do you have an office where? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We've got 5 monitors, and we run the display mode for the whole team on each of those. So like to look at the team side of it, we just go right there. And this is the one that we're displaying.
Yeah, definitely a huge element, like Howard was saying, as far as the visualization for the team is always visualizing all the time on large monitors.
Right. And people will tell you, like even our admin team was telling me, they're like, we don't look at it, but you're subconsciously absorbing those data points as you're just sitting there in your office, you're looking around, you're noticing, okay, well, we're actually not on track for our year-to-date closed units, you know, but we're kind of hitting the mark on volume or whatever else. Like people are subconsciously absorbing the data, whether they say they are or not, they look at it.
So Mike, one of the things I see
I
here,
love to walk the walk, right? So every single Monday, you know, I look at my team no differently, I think, than you guys should look at your own team. When we first started Ylopo, it was anarchy. It was like, you know, we'd have an executive team meeting. I wanted to have it every week. People were busy. You know, I would cancel, G would cancel. Forgive me, guys, I'm getting over a cold. You know, so it would be like once every 2 weeks. We'd get together on a Zoom. We weren't looking at any shared whatever, you know, screens or numbers. You know, that was probably like 3 years ago. You guys should see our Monday meeting. It's 2 hours. It never gets missed, ever. Every single department head is doing a screen share. I start off, right? I do the state of play, top of the, you know, of the company kind of numbers, right? I talk about people, recruiting. We go around the room. We go through CS. We go through sales. We go through digital marketing. We go through product and development. We go through everything. And this is a 3-year journey, right? A 3-year journey. Okay. And 3 years ago, when the meetings had no measurement, accountability, and visibility, and they were anarchy, whose fault was that? It was mine. It was 100% my fault. Okay. So when I stand up, and now our meetings are so dialed in, they're amazing. Every single Monday, we know what our marching orders for the next week. And there's no one that comes back on my team who can hide. You can't hide. Right. And we're always improving these reports down to the CS person, like how many tickets have they punched, how many conversations, you know, how many people, all this kind of stuff. Right. So we're watching everything to the micro detail on the sales side, on the CS side. You guys now have a tool built for you to do this. And when we get up on stage at summits and we say, how many people every single Monday are going over a sheet where everybody is sharing how many calls, how many emails, how many text messages, how many face-to-face appointments, how many pendings, how many closed. You know how many hands go up? Very few. Very few, right? And the same question, like, how many people are doing a team-wide calling, texting night once a month? How many hands go up? Very few. Like, I don't get it, right? So now you've got a tool that everybody can watch and rally around.
hey, one quick thing to add here, you guys. Jim Gray has actually had us do something really for his Ylopo, which he wanted to know which stage everyone is at in the funnel. And that's something I don't think, Mike, you've seen, and Barry, you haven't seen, so we'll share that with you later. But on this particular screen, I wanted to point out, looks like you don't have goals on the team level here, Mike. So everything shows in orange, but there are also pacers there if you put goals in place on the circles.
Right. I think I've got them on my personal. Yeah, I've got them on my personal side. I just don't have them set at our team level yet.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to share and speak to the goals. I'm pretty excited about them, but go ahead, Mike.
And one of the coolest things about this is when you click on 31, like it drills down to each of these people's profiles. So you can really see, okay, well, who are these people that I set the appointments for? You know, what happened with them, whatever else. So I really love that you can drill down, you know, further and see the actual contacts and not.
Can you do that, Mike, right now? Can you show us?
There they all are.
Cool.
And then there's all of your data.
And those are automatically added. So basically what happens, if your CRM integrates with SISU, basically it's monitoring significant changes and it's automatically adding these people. So those of you that are watching, if you're like me and you don't know it, you're like, ugh, I don't want to do that. But these numbers and these names and phone numbers, they're automatically flowing in. There's a little bit of, you know, tweaks here and there, but go ahead, Mike. Sorry, I interrupted.
Oh, no, it's all good. And kind of like what Howard was saying, you know, we've started tracking and adding in admin KPIs as well. And so like you can see, this is our chief of ops, and that's our year-to-date net operating income. So she enters in the NOI each week, and we're able to kind of monitor that. We're tracking some lender handoffs. We're tracking our transaction coordination calls, things like that. Like, so we're really trying to put a measurable into every single role. And in our offsite planning session last quarter, we really, as a leadership team, tried to think like, what is the one number we want to track for each of the key roles in our team? For the sales team, it's pretty straightforward, and SISU makes it very easy to plug and play it. But for the other roles, it requires a little bit more thinking to really determine what does this person control and what are the main drivers that they have. And
that's really cool. Yeah, that's great, Mike, to see how you've incorporated it with the rest of your non-sales resources. So that's very cool that you did that.
Yeah.
Mike, do you have ISAs?
So we don't currently. Like, we had 4 at one point last year, and Robbie T and I are kind of slowly rebuilding that. We just had to make a lot of adjustments to our ISA model to get it to work for us. So right now we're just agents that prospect 3 hours a day.
Okay.
You know, we do a lot of what Robbie and I call button mashing, which is starting text plans, removing tags, like just a whole bunch of conversation management basically mixed in with some targeted dials.
Okay, so for those of you who do have ISAs where you have people setting appointments for other people, we do have ISA dashboards exactly like this, where you can see, okay, and an ISA set an appointment for how many agents or how many appointments did they set, and how did those appointments go through the transaction process? So,
right.
Yeah, and one piece of advice that I would give, again, it's walking the walk. For us, you know, we care about sales, right? There's an old expression, grow or die, okay? Because your expenses will keep growing, your staff keeps growing, grow or die. So the metric that I watch all metrics. Well, the metric I watch the most is like you've got here, buyer appointments set and then buyer appointments met, right? Or listing appointments met. Those are the metrics I would look at the most. Because like for us, I'm driving towards not just the number of demos that my demonstrations to real estate agents that my team is setting, but the number of demonstrations that are attended. Because we know that if somebody watches an hour-long Zoom on Ylopo, we know the percentage of real estate agents that will become Ylopo clients. We know in the industry that if you have a face-to-face appointment, and this is kind of what I would love to see, I don't care if it's on the buyer side or the listing side, if you have a face-to-face appointment, your percentage of closes on a face-to-face appointment, right, Barry, and Mike, is crazy high. Like it's what? Like it's 75%, or like you're going to do business with this person. It's enormous, right? So driving, just as a tip to folks, like driving your whole team to the face-to-face appointments that happen, because the sales you don't even have to watch it. Like sales will just happen from that, right?
Yeah, sales come when the conversations occur, and like it all starts with just the prospecting and then actually meeting the person. Like you're saying, usually the first agent that meets the person and builds rapport with them and brings them value, they're going to get the business without really a whole lot more thought put into it. I mean, a lot of us do buyer consultations and things like that, but at the end of the day, sometimes the client just wants to go see a home or whatever else, and just kind of mirroring and matching that a little bit can't help your conversion for sure.
So go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to kind of show, like, you know, how does this data get in here? Because a lot of people, like I've talked to other people that thought they had to manually do everything in SISU, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Like I know Follow Up Boss has like a super deep integration level. We use Sierra Interactive, and this is kind of like our basic workflow that we use. And it kind of breaks down when the appointment gets set. We just simply apply a tag that the appointment's been set, and it pushes that data into SISU, and then we fill out this form in there that's just called the appointment set form, and that's all you have to do. Like it's very, very simple. It takes 2 seconds to apply a tag. It takes maybe a minute to fill out the form, and then you've got all of your data in one spot, and you're kind of starting to build that client's file in SISU. I know you can push like everyone in there if you want to. This is just kind of the way that we have done it. And then there's again a tag applied when we meet them. If we sign them, then there's a tag applied at that point, and we fill out the form for them. I can show you guys what the form looks like here in just a second. And then when it goes under contract, we use what's called the buyer pending or seller pending form to just transmit all of that data into the system, and it triggers a whole bunch of things in our admin team. And then finally, we have a commission form. SISU's done a really cool job at creating a tool to calculate very complex commission structures like ISA payouts, buyer agents that set appointments for listing agents, like all of these weird, crazy commission splits that people like myself and Barry come up with, they're actually able to create a way to track that and to pay it out in a very organized fashion, which our admin team has really liked doing. We used to do that in Excel, and it was just kind of a nightmare to do. But I mentioned, the forms, and the forms for us, like when you go to a client level, the transaction form is like all of the details of the whole transaction. And then if we set an appointment, we fill out these details. And this is fully customizable. This is just unique to our team. Like, these are the vitals that we want when we set an appointment. You could add a whole bunch more to this, or you could remove things from it as well. And then we make a forecast on the transaction amount and GCI and agent income as well. When we sign them, we fill out this form. Again, it's kind of adding to the data, so you don't have to type it in twice. Like, if you put in their name once, you don't put it in again, it's just already going to populate. You're just going to add the new data that you've collected, such as like the buyer agreement end date and things like that. And then of course, when it goes pending, that's when we have this like really long one where we fill out all of the details, things like walkthrough dates, inspection contingencies, earnest money due dates, things like that. So it's pretty comprehensive. I've never seen anything else that can manage that many details, to be honest with you.
Well, quick question for you. When you said you add a tag, now that's a tag in Sierra, right?
Right.
Okay. And so then you've got Sierra sending that data when you tag the lead into SISU. And so that's how you're kind of pushing the info in there. Is that right?
That's right. Yep.
Okay. Okay. And then just so you guys know, the whole reason why this is significant, and one of the reasons why I asked Mike for some of his processes, are because the part of my SISU that's not dialed in is like the GCI and the other things, because we're not tracking, we're not putting in the commission and using it. And so when you're using this to do commission payouts, it all flows back into the rest of your system so that you're able to see ROI, who's closing what. So super, super important.
Mike, do you want to share your commission form?
Yeah, I definitely can. The other thing that I would just kind of highlight here, like, this doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but we use the send form data, which basically is a communication tool. Like, I can choose who I want to send this to, and I can send all of the key data points to my team. So for instance, if you penned a deal, you've just handed the baton from the agent to the transaction coordinator. This becomes that communication tool that closes the loop and says, hey, you're up now. It's time for you to take over and drive this transaction. It's super basic, but it's highly effective.
So Mike, just a couple of things to add to this form. That's really, our focus is really automation of your business as well. Right now, if you have an integration with skysloper.loop, which we do have, you can pull the documents into SISU and share those out via that also. And what we're working on right now is in Q2, we will be rolling out a task management platform that is Kanban style boards similar to Trello. And you'll be able to let your vendors actually participate in that task management. So
awesome. Let me show you
and Brokerment's on the roadmap. Is that right?
As far as integration. So
yeah.
We've had a lot of people ask us for Brokerment. Us having an open API, we want to integrate with everyone. It's just a matter of Brokerment giving their approval, which we don't yet have. So Barry, if you want to weigh in on that, that'd be great.
I'll make a call.
Okay.
So this is the commission form, that they were just talking about, and you can adjust this to anything you want, but this is just our structure. You can track referrals. If you get a lot of inbound referrals from other agents, you can have what's called a pre-split adjustment. Like, we have a marketing and admin fee that comes off the top before the split occurs. And then you can see that there's adjusted PCI, that then there's the actual team's company dollar, and then there's my split as an agent on the team. You can then see post-split adjustments, like our transaction coordinator gets $50 per transaction. It's been tracked to that person. There's our sales manager getting a $200 bonus. So you're really like tracking everything you could possibly conceive of in the commission form. It's one of the coolest and most unique features about SISU that definitely solved a big pain point for us. We were tracking it with Excel before, and it was just a freaking nightmare to try to keep up on, and had a lot of mistakes in it.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this, what you just went over, because I think that's a big missing component for me, and I'll talk about my journey with Sisu, but I'm really, that's going to be a big deal for us.
This is another one I want to talk about is the lead sources by agent. And like, let's just we'll put Dale on the spot here, who's one of our top agents. You know, you can see Dale's got 4 deals pending year to date and 4 closed year to date. You can see that, you know, guys, 4 of those 8 are Ylopo generated deals. Again, not Ylopo converted, but just Ylopo generated transactions. So you can see that, you know, where his business is really coming from. For me, I like to really look at this and see, you know, how are they doing with their Sphere business? Like, are they getting to that 30, 40, 50% of Sphere, or are they just relying on the company leads to generate their business? But we're really watching like our PCSOI really closely. And the big goal of our team this year is to get that number up as we break 3 years into the business. We're looking to build more of our past client business. And this report really helps us analyze that. And it also helps you kind of understand who your ballers are on your team. You know, last year we replaced or, you know, let a handful of agents go. And in one of our leadership meetings, we sat down, we looked at this report and we said, okay, well, we just had 5 people leave the team. And those 5 people took up the vast majority of our energy and time and resources, and they contributed about 7% of the whole team's production. I mean, oh my God, right?
I love, yeah.
Talk about a breakthrough, right? So it was just like, we're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that's insane. So that's just like one of the ways you can use this report and just kind of something to think about. But you can see Ylopo for us. I mean, like, here's my transactions year to date. 6 of my 15 are Ylopo generated. So we've been in Ylopo now for what, like 18, 19 months, and it just keeps getting better and better and better for us. And it becomes a bigger part of our business.
Mike, is there a way to see like the whole linear flow by agents? So in other words, like number of leads, but then also like number of calls, text, emails, number of face-to-faces, then pending, then closed. So the whole linear kind of journey from lead through touches, through appointments, through pendings, through close. Because if I had this view, but I had that whole like horizontal flow, right? Then I could also show my other agents like, well, look, it starts here, right? These touches lead to this number of face-to-faces, which lead to this number, you know, the whole thing, right?
So Howard, you share our vision there. Mike, if you want to scroll up to the top, I'd like to show you guys what we're actually building on that. If you go to your production and activity report.
Agent team production?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's not the report I want to be in. Performance and conversion report. So in this performance and conversion report, it's exactly what you're talking about there, Howard, except for it's starting with conversations. We're actually building this so that you can replace conversations with lead source. So you could replace that with Ylopo, and you could see by agent from lead to appointments to met to signed under contract to closed.
Yeah, I mean, my suggestion is to get granular and have leads, emails, texts, calls, because, you know, there's a formula there, right? Like, it's, if people are not texting nowadays, like, that's insane. If they're not texting their consumers, right? So leads, emails, texts, calls, and then, like I said, then actual, you know, appointments from there. Yeah, this is great. This is really, really cool. And we do this by agent. Imagine every Monday you had, you know, 7 people on your team every Monday, and we had this whole flow, and they showed up. And the people that have, like, they all have, let's say 50 leads, but this person has all these touches. We look at salesperson touches literally every single day, right? And appointments and like all that, right? And so there's nowhere to hide. And if somebody basically is not doing all of the 3 different types of touches, then you stop their lead flow until they catch up, right? So that's all comes together with this.
Yeah, I get what you're saying for sure. I think it'd be valuable to have the total leads flowing in for sure. I don't think we're flowing in our like just complete leads right now. We're only flowing them in once something occurs with them.
Yeah, but it like literally you could calculate percentage of conversations or percentage of touches, like touches and then conversations, these percentages per the number of leads you have. What you're going to find, guys, is that you are going to have agents of all kinds of performance, right? And you're saying, okay, each agent, we're going to give 60 leads, that's it, right? But then you're going to see someone who's got literally 100% touches, and someone else who's got 50% touches, and someone's got 20% touches. And from that, you're going to see the percentages of conversations. This is the visibility that will bring up the low boats up to the high boats.
Yeah, I agree.
Mike, I'd like to go over a little bit on my end,
Yeah,
and I don't want to cut you short.
No,
Did you want to go move to another topic?
No, I'm going to hand it back to you. I'll stop sharing and off to you.
Okay.
Barry, you want to share? And then,
yes. So my journey is a little bit different when it comes to the SISU journey. I had the platform for a while, and I hadn't had it dialed in yet. And then around the fall of last year, I started working on it. And I remember setting up a call with Brian, and one of the things he said to me was, he said, you're at the end of the year. It'd be a great time to really dial in goals. And, most of the agents on my team, they weren't communicating with the lead in the CRM. They weren't using the tools to the absolute nth degree. And that's my fault, but it was just the way that it was. And so then I have this awesome platform, right? I'm managing multiple teams, multiple CRMs, and I start working on integrating. So I get it integrated, but then I realize because my agents aren't communicating with the leads inside of the CRM, I'm not getting anything out of this. So the first thing that SISU enabled me to do was get my agents to use the technology, to use our CRM, to call, to use the dialer, to send text, which was a big win for me. And then what I was able to do is I was able to go over here and go to the goal calculator. And this is a tool that basically reverse engineers how much money you want to make. And so what I had my admin do, it was over Christmas break, they sent an email to the entire office and said, hey, send us how much money you want to make. We're going to tell you how much work you need to put in. And we got everybody to send us their income goals. And we put it in this, I had my admin put it in this goal calculator. And let me see if I can find, I'm going to go into my email. Do you guys remember what the email says in SISU? Let's see, goal. Anyway, I don't know, but
I believe that would
end
come
result,
from success@sisu.co, Barry.
I don't think he'll want to search for that. That would be our, it probably came from Sherry, maybe. Sherry at sisu.co. And if anybody wants to go run this goal calculator, it is free, but we also have it contained within our platform.
it's okay. Basically, it reverse engineers, what needs to be done to be able to make the amount of money that they want. And it uses some averages, and it's able to really have a lot of logic behind it. And so then what we did was we went to each agent and we inputted their goals into SISU. So each individual agent, let's pull, so this is the Friends of Real Estate team. So, so what we did was we took how much the individual wanted to make, and then the individual knew how much volume that he needed to sell. We did the average price point for our market. Honestly, each agent has a different price point, but I was, 90-10, I just needed to get something done. How many units he needs to make. And then you go into each month and it parses through and says, okay, this, you need to have this much under contract. You need to have this much closed. You need to do, because your business is mostly buyers, you need to have 3 buyers and 1 listing closed. And then based on the amount of appointments he needs 8 appointments a month to get these closings. And so to get 8 appointments, he needs to have this many conversations. To get this many conversations, we deduced that he needed to call 800 people a month and text 2,200 people a month. And then in January and February, because it's slower months in our area, I just reduced the goals for those months. And then when I went down into July, I increased it. So now, just to back up, because a lot of you are going to be starting with SISU probably, soon after this webinar. And for us, first it was integration, and then everything was flowing through, which was great. Then I said, okay, now I've got to get my team to use the platform. The way that I did that was we did a sales contest, And all we did was we said, whoever has the most SISU activity. So we added up all the calls, all the closings, everything that SISU tracked, which for us, when we go to the team is, sorry, my internet's going a little bit slow, but you know, all these different analytics, like, you know, how many appointments set, you know, now we know that these agents are using statuses correctly, how many buyers closed, all the dials that they did. Whoever had the most activity won the contest. So then now what I've got is everybody's using the CRM the way that I designed it, and it automatically flows into SISU. So again, I wasn't asking them to manually update SISU because I tried that at first. It didn't work back in the summer because there's a great mobile app, but I just couldn't get anybody to do it. So then that's when I went to integration. And when I went to integration, we did a contest. Who has the most activity in here? So then what happened, because I'm giving you guys a progression of how this impacted my business very practically. Now that I've got the agents using their CRMs the way that it's designed, and they're changing their statuses the right way, and each CRM, the stages, for example, in Follow Up Boss and the statuses in FirePoint all sync. And so then now the agents know that, you know, so let me drill this down to one agent. Let's see, scope. So let me pick Mez, for example. And so now Mez is able to go in and he's able to look, okay, this is what my goals were for the year. And my goals right now, I should have 4 people under contract. He's got 3. So he knows he needs to hustle. He knows he needs 8 buyer appointments set right now. He's not on pace, so he needs to step it up, right? And closings, he's got 2 out of 4. Let's pick another one. So then what started to happen was, because they were able to see how much money they want to make and what they need to do every month to get there. And then, because we are displaying this on the TV and the sales side of my office, they're able to see very plainly, and I'll send screenshots of, you know, of who's doing what. And you can see this agent, you know, he's not on pace. You know, and part of it is, you know, my agents are still getting used to not using their cell phone versus their FirePoint, and we're working through that. But I'm not kidding. This goal feature is increasing the number of dials and text messages, because I think as real estate agents, we tend to think that success is like this mystical, like far off thing. And especially with like the guru culture that tends to infiltrate our industry, I just feel like everybody's wondering, will I be a success? And what SISU has enabled my team to do is get back to the basics, pick up the phone, send text messages. And once I utilize Novak's commission sheet tool, or, you know, it's SISU's tool, but the way he's doing it, I'm able to backfill all of my numbers and actually make it happen. And so it's been transformative. And I've got 2 teams, I've got Follow Up Boss for one team, FirePoint for the other 2, and SISU's integrating with all of them and managing them. And so it's been a big transition for us, but it's been transformative. You just got to do it in stages, in my opinion. But
Can we go back to the big dashboard view with all the agents, the leaderboard?
Barry,
Yes.
one thing that you did was bounce around between your 2 different teams, and I don't think anybody even noticed. So maybe show how you did that.
Yeah, so I've got 2 teams are under the Friends in Real Estate, because I didn't know how to add another one. So 2 teams are in the Friends in Real Estate, and then 1 team is in the Tribe team. But basically, I can switch and look at who's doing what. And this is the team that wasn't using statuses the way that, you know, the way that's needed to be able to make it happen. Hold on a second. Let's go to, because Howard said he wanted to look at the team. So you've got 16 units pending, 11 closed.
Where had leaderboard and had all the people ranked and all the different metrics. There you go. Boom. Stop. Yeah. I mean, imagine on a big screen, everybody walks in and they see this every day, right? where do they hide? They walk into an office
Well,
and
let me show you.
every day.
This is display mode. Way cooler. And this is what goes on the TV.
And then Barry,
Can you guys see that, or did I?
Yeah, we can see it.
Can you see my whole screen?
We
Yeah.
can. One of the things that's happening is we get into these leaderboards. You'll see these leaderboards are pretty basic right here. We're actually updating this in the next week so that these leaderboards look like leaderboards if you go to Leaderboards. So maybe you want to jump over there as well to show what those leaderboards look like.
Yeah, I mean, Barry, I would agree that the other dashboard's like super cool. I mean, I don't know, Brian, if you guys would be able to do this, but it'd be crazy cool if you could set it up where it just on the big screen in an office, it just sort of rotates the views. I mean,
Yeah, that's what it does.
Yeah, but that leaderboard view, Barry, that's where the individuals don't hide. You know what I'm saying? Like when it's aggregated,
Right.
But and here's the other thing, which is some people are not performing, not because they can't perform, but psychologically they're not bought in. Let's say psychologically they're not bought in on Ylopo leads, right, or whatever the source is. But if every day you walk in and you'll see the leaderboard and people making money on Ylopo, it's hard to then not buy in, right? And then start doing the follow-ups that we need them to do.
When it's demystifying success is what it's doing. And the thing is, like, I don't want to input this stuff. I love numbers, but oh my gosh, like I'm just not interested in it. And so the fact that I took, and now like you can see like who's having the most conversations, and it tracks in our CRMs, depending on the integration with the CRM, it actually just waits. So I think it's 2 minutes. If they're on the phone for 2 minutes, or if the text message convo goes more than two back and forth, I believe that's the way that it works. It's like, okay, they're talking. They talked for 2 minutes. You're not going to leave a voicemail for 2 minutes. And so it's tracking the number of conversations an individual is having. And so, if I can see where Marin, for example, let's say I think she's third in dials and she's third in conversation. So I can say to her, look, call more people. Let's go to dials.
But
just remember, so you guys know, even to take it to a higher level, Howard.
My sales team, they are very competitive people. Okay. That's why they're in sales. Okay. I think that real estate agents, although I always say they're much more than salespeople. They're consultants, they're psychologists, they're transaction coordinators. They're a lot of things, right? But agents, most of them, the good ones, are competitive. And I'm telling you guys, Ylopo clients, if you're listening to me, even if you do not have SISU right now and you're going to get it and you're going to learn it, you have to ask yourself as a team leader right now, when people go into my office, do they even see a whiteboard? Do they see a whiteboard with everybody listed and their contacts, their appointments, their pendings, their closes? Do they see SISU on a big screen? Do they see something? And if the answer is no, if I walk into your office and I do not see that performance board, you're missing the boat.
Well, I think the other thing too, really didn't touch on, and I hopped into Barry's and Mike's accounts a little bit, but every one of these activities that you're tracking, obviously, everybody's tracking it differently. There's an entire challenge system to SISU, the whole gamification part of it. Just like Barry was saying is, hey, I just wanted to get my agents introduced to it. So I'm going to take all the activity they do, and I want to give whoever gets the most today, I'm going to give them 10,000 points. Or, for example, Brian's wife's brokerage, she split boys versus girls and was running contests for them. We had a great customer. Yeah, we have a great customer.
Funny. She's run a dozen different contests, and every single time that it's boys versus girls, they basically double their production. I don't know what that says about humanity, but that's an interesting thing.
Yeah, customers will.
We do something. It's a visible dashboard. Literally every single salesperson and the head of sales looks at it every day, and it's called the belt race. And there is a picture of a heavyweight, looks like a heavyweight championship boxing belt. Yeah. We have a physical belt. That belt gets passed around to the winner of the belt race and there's money associated with it.
Yeah.
And there's the pride of wearing the belt. For
Right.
our client success team, we have a backpack. Remember, like on ski mountains, you know, the ski patrol, they have like their backpacks so they can save people, right? So we have that contest, competition for our client success people. How many folks, right, can they help and can they rescue and can they save, right? So think about these things. It is the difference between everybody kind of down here and bringing everybody up here.
And to your point, Howard and Frank, when you run challenges like that, you can assign points for each activity. Those points accumulate. You have winners every month or however long you want to run those for. And then those total points accumulate over the course of a year. We actually have a team who just announced that they're going to give their team awards trip based on those points, but they let people turn them in like you do the tickets at an arcade, where you can get a car lease or you can get, something small. It might just be t-shirts from the company. So you can save those points up as long as you want to get bigger things. So there's so many ideas and so many fun things you can do with
it. We had a very, very successful team. And what they would do is once a year, they would get this whole bus that would come to their office and they'd go on this massive shopping spree. But the entire year, people were building up points for all these different things that you wanted to, it was face-to-faces or whatever it was, right? And you got all these points. And once a year, you got to go on this bus and go to this really fancy shopping place and spend your points. Like, it was such a morale-boosting, cool thing, right?
It's
And
such a great idea.
what we kind of noticed too is every team, every brokerage, agent retention is always just a huge challenge. But what we have found with our users is you're memorializing the usage and the performance and the activity of the agent. And when they can be up on a leaderboard forever, they can kind of say, gosh, I've been the top agent here visually, point total, conversations, dials, dial nights, all of that combined. You do whatever you can to try to retain agents. And if you can memorialize them technically, well, then maybe that will help a little bit as well. So
I think that one of my takeaways here is that there is a lot to SISU. But I think that we have to, as leaders here, we have to be thoughtful about starting clients here. Like SISU 101. We really should come up with like SISU 101 for Ylopo. I care about my Ylopo clients, right? Damn everybody else. So I think Mike and Barry, you've taken it here and here and here and here. But let's really be thoughtful about SISU 101 because there's so much there. There's so much there that I don't want it to be intimidating for folks. And let's think about like what's SISU Ylopo Integration 101. I always think like there's a law of diminishing returns, right? Like if you could get the basics of it, you're probably going to get 65% of the value, right? Mike and Barry, you're the kind of guys who like, you want to get 100% of the value. But maybe we can think about what are the basics. So it's not intimidating. It's not overly complex. Let's start here. Once you've got that dialed in, there's the next level, 201 and 301, the more advanced courses.
We could do
Well, I think if they're using the CRM, yeah, and I think if the agents are using the CRM and it's integrated with the CRM, honestly, I think that's that 65% mark because, what I was just doing when you guys were talking was just, and I was still sharing my screen, but I just took one of my agents who we look at the number of dials she's made and the number of conversations she's had, and I'm able to go and do training and compare her percentage of dials to conversations to maybe another agent and say, look, and I did that. And one of the agents that I did this with, come to find out, the only time this individual was making outbound calls was when it was convenient for my agent. They weren't trying to call people early in the morning, late at night, on the weekends. It was just the working hours. And that's why, this individual had tons of dials, but no conversations. And so I was able to use these percentages to then apply very specific training. And that was only by integrating the CRM and my agents using the CRM to talk to the consumer.
For other Sierra users, I'm happy to share. We have like a 5-page step-by-step written process for how we use SISU. I'm happy to share it in the Ylopo Success group if people want to emulate that. It's literally step-by-step how to run it.
Follow Up Boss, Sierra, Firepoint, all is well in the world here, guys.
Boomtown, Chime, Loop, Skyslope right now, Real Geeks.
What about
some of these? LionDesk, not today. Some of these occur when based on the level in which that the CRM provides a Zapier. So we'll manage Zapier for the customers. They go into our Zapier community. We manage the integration. Zapier is a great tool, but it's a pretty complex tool. You can do a lot with it. So we manage that for the customer.
When Ylopo, which is not a CRM, directly integrates with SISU, how will things improve and change?
Well, with the Ylopo integration, we would do direct API integration. That's our. I'm not going to say we definitely have priorities of our integrations, and Ylopo is definitely at the very top as far as when we want to make sure that we do an API integrated solution. So.
I know LionDesk. Well, you asked about LionDesk. LionDesk does have an open API, so I believe they are definitely, I think, into Zapier as well. So I think we can do something with LionDesk. It's just not direct today. It's through Zapier.
And Frank and I had a call already, Howard, of just brainstorming, the priority alerts, for example, who's getting the most, who's actioning on those priority alerts. I mean, there's just a lot of really good stuff, listing rocket leads versus dynamic leads, and who's better at converting what and when. So there's a lot of granular marketing data that at the CRM level, most of the CRMs aren't managing the marketing aspect like, Ylopo is. And so we're going to be able to really dial it in, even for the client health reports.
Yeah, obviously our goal is like, no matter what CRM our clients are on, that we've got the Ylopo SISU integration two-way and really tight.
So we've got a few questions and we're at the top of the hour. Yeah, single agents. Is this useful for a single agent?
It is. I mean, I would like to say that it is certainly designed more for a team. I mean, because you see a lot of team visualization. It's really the high-performing single agent. You may have an external TC or VAs or outsourced ISAs. We certainly have single agents that really leverage it, but it is a cost. There is a cost to that. And oftentimes the cost is a little restrictive to a single agent. So, but the vast majority of our customers are teams up to brokerages to national brand. So
a lot of the single agents that are on our system are doing at least 50 transactions a year, right? Maybe they're a Mike Ferry style and generating a lot of leads, which a lot of single agents don't generate leads. So my guess is if there's a single agent on this call, you probably are generating a lot of leads. It probably makes sense for you.
Yeah, and I think the question too was asking about like Follow-Up Boss. I always recommend customers that will say, I have Follow-Up Boss, I'm interested in using SISU. We typically will get over that customer or prospect our KB articles and the video as far as how the product works with SISU, and then they can just kind of watch the video to see if they have to maybe change some of their standard operating procedures within the CRM. And then just like Barry said, you just turn it on and the data starts flowing into SISU. So Barry made a great point. Yep. If you can get your agents to use a CRM as part of their job, it's really just an easy process to turn it on. We do have some customers, some Boomtown customers, that all they do is agents don't even do any data entry into SISU. They just look at the monitors, look at the app, and everything's done from the CRM integration. So.
Next question, Mike, what Ylopo level are you at, if you know, and also what's your favorite color? They didn't ask the favorite color, I just made that up, but they did want to know what level you're at.
Black, 100%. But honestly, I have no idea what our level is. Whatever G says it is, I don't know. I have no idea.
Perfect answer. Yeah. And then last question, could you walk us through forecasting? And another question, yes, Follow-Up Boss integration is set up. It's completely dialed in. It's actually one of the easier ones in my opinion, because the deals section flows right in. But forecasting, do you use SISU to help forecast what the next 12 months looks like, where you should be spending your money, any of that stuff, Mike?
I do. I mean, I would say that, I know Howard said like you and I are 100% in SISU. Like I'm still wrapping my head around the best way to do it. I have like a really advanced Excel document that I created that just, it works. It's kind of what I've been using since day one in real estate, and I haven't adopted that format into Sisu yet. Brian, maybe I'll send it over to you and you guys can take a look at it and see if it's something we can.
Are you ranking leagues on that, Mike? Like 1 to 10? Are you rating them like 10 can close in the next 30 days?
Yeah, we do some of that for sure.
So we do that within Sisu. There are just very few people that are aware of that. So it's something we're doing. We haven't really pushed it out at a high level yet, but that will actually allow you to forecast. So you'll be able to look at a funnel and see how many Ylopo leads are sitting in there that might be closing in 8 months versus 6 months versus 4, 3, 2, 1, right? So we'll show where people are at in the funnel. We're actually developing that right now. As far as forecasting, the other thing that, I mean, that's long-term forecasting. As far as forecasting what you're going to do this month or next month, anything that's pending, you can pull up a report, and most of our people pull that up. It's basically an income report. So it'll show you, you can just put in any date range and it'll show you what you have closing during that date range. And it'll also show you, this is how much money, this is how much GCI is coming in. This is what you're paying out to your team. And so this is your company dollar. And then if you do add expenses into our platform, it'll actually show you your net income on that as well. So it does forecast your income.
And I think for those of you that are watching, you've seen very different ways that Sisu can complement your business. And I think that's what I'm gathering by listening to Mike and everybody kind of going through this is it really depends on your business, where the needs are, right? Whether it's efficiency or wise spending. And then by having full-on transparency of what's going on, you're able to make actual business decisions. So instead of reacting, you're proactive. But Frank, did you want to share, I know you shared it in the group, as far as the discount for Ylopo customers, greatly appreciated. You want to just share that real quick?
Yeah, so if you, we offer a free trial of Sisu, so we're like any other subscription company is we want you to use it, we want you to trial it, we want you to know that you're going to pay for it. So we'll give you a really ample time to trial the product for free. We'll waive your setup fees, import fees. So a lot of customers were asking, or prospects were asking about kind of a spreadsheet product called CTE. It's about 15% of our customers every month are coming from CTE. So we take all the spreadsheet data, import it into Sisu, set it up. So we'll waive that fee for Ylopo customers, and we'll also give 10% off your subscription if you decide to move forward and go active. If you use coupon code Ylopo 2020 in that coupon code, and enter it in.
So that's amazing, right? Huge value add. And we're hoping, might not be for this call night, but we are hoping to use Sisu for the leaderboards for the Ylopo call nights that we do, because I think that that'd be really neat to be able to feature that and share how it's working. So Howard, any parting thoughts? A wise one? Anything you want to send us off with?
Become a maverick. Become a maverick. MAV. Measurement, accountability, visibility. They all mean different things. I started with that, and I'm going to end with that. You cannot improve what you don't measure. You cannot hold people accountable unless you measure it and you make it visible. Now, it's the make it visible part that people get all squirrely about, right? Oh, I don't want to embarrass people, and you know, bullshit. Okay, you make it visible to everybody, and guess what? Your low-level people will buy in. They'll see the other people kicking butt. They will get tired of being at the low level of the leaderboard, and their performance comes up. Drop the eye gas, please.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's great. That's great. All right. Well, thank you, Brian and Frank and Mike, for just helping us and dialing it in. And guys, from our perspective, Sisu is a huge win for your business. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and thanks for watching.
Thanks, everybody.
See you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Sisu.